Welcome ladies and gentlemen to Red Star Raceway. We are joined today by our favourite magazine editor Robert Portman to look at a hugely significant new model. For 2020, Yamaha announced a new R1. This made all Superbike fans drool with anticipation because it's been 5 years since we've seen a new model of the already iconic Yamaha Superbike. We say this because of what a success the last machine was. It used the cross-plane crank that commanded the uneven firing order that was introduced to the Yamaha R1 in 2009. And more importantly, it is the same firing sequence as that of Rossi's MotoGP machine. What made the 2015 model particularly special is that it brought this glorious crank and introduced it to the 200 horsepower club. It also showed off the new robotic looks and had a sophisticated electronic nervous system that still rivals top machines today. And it was successful. Go and look. The 2015 and onwards R1 won championships absolutely everywhere. Except in World Superbike, of course. And this is probably because Yamaha spent all their money on Rossi and Vinales, and because they didn't have Johnny Ray. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, a new R1 with a pretty new look. And while the new looks are grand, they also serve to make the motorcycle 5.3% more slippery through the air, and that's good. It's at this point, though, that the news starts becoming a little shaky. Yeah, this is a new R1, but from the looks onwards, the newness starts becoming a little new. The frame is the same as the previous model. The wheels are the same. The brakes are the same. And the suspension is the same, although the settings have been slightly fettled. In fact, because of the Euro Bear emission standards, the only major change is the weight, that has gone from 199 kilograms on the previous model to 203 on this one. And that's not great. The motor shows some promise. It gets new finger follower rocker arms, new cam profiles, a new cylinder head and new fuel injectors. The result of these updates is that the horsepower goes from 197 on the previous model to 197 on this one. That seems like an awful lot of work for, well, nothing. So far, the new R1 seems to be a bit of a lazy botch job from Yamaha, but we need to remember something. This is an R1, and that still counts for plenty.
Now, according to experts, there's three main reasons, the three top reasons why anyone buys a motorcycle is brand, okay, Yamaha, looks, okay, and then it's performance, alright. But I disagree. For me personally, number 3 is soundtrack. And that is definitely up there. That is definitely up there. This cross-plane crank sounds like Valentino Rossi's MotoGP machine. And you kind of pretend you are. Yeah, alright, everyone, same thing, cool.
The motor is pushing the same max power, but Yamaha say that the power delivery is different. And that means something, because the delivery on the previous machine was excellent.
It's got a strange power delivery, especially here in mode A. It sort of comes on with like a thump. It's like the moment you open the throttle, it's sort of like, oh, there, you feel it there. Now, when you're going slowly, it's quite bad. When you go faster, it actually feels a little bit better. But it has that sort of real pick-me-up kind of feel.
So what has always been the biggest selling point on the Yamaha R1 is that big bang motor. It's just timeless. It's just perfection. It's beautiful. It just does everything you want. And it's just so easy to control. That is why the Yamaha R1 has dominated for so long. It's that big bang engine.
Of course, the chassis is mostly the same. However, the chassis was never a problem to begin with. And the suspension has of course been reworked.
The suspension is from KYB, and a lot of people are adamant that KYB is better than Showa and even Öhlins. And from where I am now, I struggling to disagree. They feel really, really good. Red Star's got some big bumps, and this is just soaking them up. No problem.
And R1 gives you the confidence to brake late, to throw it in. That's once you've got comfortable on the bike. When you first climb on it, you kind of think, oh, this feels a bit uncomfortable, I can't get comfortable. But when you start putting in those fast laps, the braking and the handling comes into its own, and to get the bike into a corner and keep it there is one of the big highlights of this bike.
The handling still feels sort of R1-ish. It's got this, it's not the fastest handling motorcycle, but it gives you so much confidence. You just feel so good in the middle of the corners, just like you can keep cranking. It just holds its line. The front end's like, no problem, sir, what would you like? Oh, you would like to go around a corner at this lean angle? No problem, sir, you can do that. The electronics are all amazing, everything's amazing. It's got this very robotic look from where I'm sitting over here. It looks like a kind of manga cartoon sort of thing.
The electronics shows some promise. There are now 7 adjustable functions, including 2 different ABS modes and variable engine braking that's adjustable via mobile phone. They've also removed the throttle cables because they were kind of pointless given the ride-by-wire throttle the R1 has been using since 2009. Those are the happy bits, but there was one grumble.
I'm not 100% convinced about these brakes. I don't know what brakes they are. They're sort of Yamaha specials, but they don't have the greatest stopping power. Brembo's will outdo it, the Nissans will outdo it, those weird things on the BMW maybe. I don't know. You have to use a lot of lever though, that's true.
So here we have a new R1 that isn't all that new. This might be a disappointment for the spec sheet enthusiasts, but they need to remember one thing. This is an R1. It didn't get too many upgrades because, well, it doesn't need it.
So there we have it, the 2020 Yamaha R1, or should I say the 2019 B or something.
Well, you know,
it's
the problem Yamaha have got, they brought out such a good second generation of the Big Bang. The first one needed a lot of tweaks. They did it with the second gen. I always wondered where were they going to go with the next one, and it was that good. It's won multiple SA world. It's done everything.
Well, it hasn't technically won a world title.
Not a world title,
okay.
but I mean in every single other country it's won, and here it's still dominating, even with Clincella on the previous bike.
Yeah.
So where were Yamaha going to take it next? They've refined it in some ways with the power delivery, electronics, and they've given it a facelift. And a rider like me with experience and pushing it hard on track, I could feel those slight refinements. But for anyone out on the road there, I still had a couple of people come up to us and say, why have you got the old R1 here? No, mate, it's the new one. Just look, it's got a fatter fairing.
Okay, I mean, I was going to say, it definitely looks different.
It's blue.
Okay. From the front, it looks different. The problem is when you see it from the side, it looks like an R1. And when you ride it, I've got to be honest, it feels like the old R1. Although there are some improvements. I mean, the other one had a few little jittery bits, but there were little things that they've kind of smoothed out now. But my thing about it is, if you are an R1 fan, and let's face it, there's a ton of those. I mean, your bike's getting a little bit old now. You can buy a new one. You can rock up at home with it. Just make sure you park it with the front pointing out.
Yeah, so everyone can
otherwise,
see.
no one will know.
And don't park it near R6.
Yeah, there we go. The neighbors will know you've got a new bike, and they don't need to know that it's not that different. Am I right?
Well, look, if you buy a new R1, like you said, it's slight updates, but you're going to go on to a track, and you are still going to get that same R1 feeling. You're going to love it. You're going to go fast. You're going to enjoy it, just with slight refinements. Like I said, you said they've updated a couple of things. Previously, there was a slight hole right at the bottom. That hole is now gone. The power delivery of that Big Bang motor is just still, I would not even hesitate to say, probably the best out there.
And what I love about it is it's the only one of the bikes that you can buy that has that kind of, it almost has like a European feel. I mean, that crossplay motor, it's got that sound. You feel like Rossi, Vignales, Quattararo.
Well, that's the thing. You watch the MotoGP bikes and you kind of get that sense of that translates onto this R1 when you're riding it. Like you said, you kind of feel like, I'm nowhere near Rossi, but if I put a Rossi helmet on,
but you know what I mean. You know when you're Rossi, but you kind of feel like Rossi. And I mean, we're all kind of 14-year-olds imagining stuff at heart. Let's be honest.
Yamaha have done well with translating that from MotoGP to here. I just would have liked to have seen a little bit more. Maybe even just slap some wings on it or something. It's just a little bit too similar to the previous one, looks-wise, and that.
It is.
That's my only quarry with it.
It is, but I mean, I wonder.
Okay, but more so than that, all right, so you get the sort of European feeling, but at the same time, you also get that Japanese peace of mind, because it is a Japanese motorcycle.
Build quality,
Oh,
exceptional,
it's lovely.
everything
It's
works.
more than it's Yamaha. And Yamaha
It's
don't
never
do
going to break. Even with
half
that big
measures.
bang that you're revving the tits off, but you don't think it's ever going to break.
I still keep saying that, I mean, that Yamaha R1 was so good. I mean, it's sort of underrated because it doesn't give you that sort of walloping feeling until you come in with the lap times. We've seen this on the racetrack. And ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned, because in about a week or two, we're going to have this motorcycle up against all the latest stuff, and we're going to see exactly, I mean, if I'm right, if it still has what it takes.
Like you said, out on the track, you ride out on the track and you think, okay, I'm doing nice and this feels great, but I'm not setting the world alight. Then you come in and you
look
get
at the
told
lap times, so
and
you're like, what?
So that's always been the biggest selling point of the Yamaha R1, the second gen Big Bang and this one, is that you can climb on it, go fast, and do it smoothly and effortlessly, compared to other bikes where you have to just be a little bit more hard.
Now the price of that bike is not too bad either, is it?
$299.
$299. I mean, it's a lot of money, but put it up against everything else, it's really not bad.
Compared to everything else on the market, that has got to be one of the best superbike bars today, because it's still that 2020 spec. You can still get a ZX10 and a GSXR for a bit cheaper, but they're not 2020 spec. That's the big difference.
That's true. Anyway, cool. Thank you very much for joining us, Rob. Stay tuned. More coming up after the break.